Okay, well here's an original impromptu, pretty cool effect I put together. I call the others. So all you need to do is have the spectator shuffle the cards as much as they like. You can use a borrowed deck if you want. Now I'll just continue explaining how the effect actually looks since I don't have a spectator, and then I'll move right into the tutorial. So as the spectator is shuffling the cards, you as the performer can turn your back so you don't see what they're doing. You instruct them to deal the cards poker dealing style onto the table into two piles, as many cards as they like, but just to make sure they at least deal through about a third of the deck, just until they can stop anywhere they wish, so they have two even random sized piles. The remaining cards they can just set on the table. They are then to just pick up any one of the packets, and they can select between 5 and 9 cards, and just to make sure that all the values that they select are different. So let's just say they select a 6, an 8, and again they're doing this silently to themselves while the performer's not looking. Jack, let's say a 7, let's say a 2. We can't take the Jack because we already have one, of course, so let's take a 4. That's 6 cards. That could be enough there. Let's just do one more. We'll do, let's say, a Queen. So there's, say, those 7 we'll select. Now the remaining cards, the spectator is told to just hide them in the card case or in their pocket, and we'll set that aside. And then with the other packet that they've dealt, they're to shuffle those further if they wish, and when they're ready to just peek at the bottom card of the packet and to remember that card. That's going to be their secret card selection, so we're going to remember the 2 of diamonds in this case. They're then to just place that packet on the random sized rest of the cards on the deck, on the table, sorry, and leave them squared up. Then, with the packet of the small random-sized packet of cards that they've just selected a moment ago, we're going to further randomize the position of the selected card, the 2 of diamonds in this case, in this packet by spelling each value in turn, one card at a time, from the top to the bottom of this packet, without, again, the performer even seeing what they're doing or ever seeing these cards. They're just doing this silently to themselves. So they carefully and silently spell the 6, 8, Jack, 7, 2, 4, Queen, moving, again, the selected card into a random position. So, for example, they would spell S, I, X, then move on to the 8, E, I, G, H, T, and of course the Jack, J, A, C, K, then on to the 7, S, E, V, E, N, and then lastly the 2, 4, and Queen, T, W, O, F, O, U, R, Q, U, E, E, N. So again, they've done that quietly to themselves. The performer hasn't heard what they've done. And they're then to square up their card selections and keep them hidden face down on the table. The performer turns back around for the first time, recaps with the spectator what has just happened, just reminding them, of course, that they've selected a card in a random-sized packet of cards at the beginning, in a random position, in a random-sized packet of cards. They've selected a random amount of cards between 5 and 9 cards, and of course all different values, and they've spelt, of course, this all these different values to have their card in a, the conditions are just impossible, is what the performer is trying to say, to find this card in this packet, their selected card in their packet, the 2 of diamonds in this case. And I'm sure you would readily agree it would be impossible to just pluck out exactly the selected card. To make this even more amazing, the performer will not even look at the cards. The performer is just going to simply do one swift, quick maneuver to find the card, just by cutting the cards simply like this, and believe it or not, the performer has found the card. And the performer moves on to say that rather than just showing you the card, believe it or not, I've positioned the card precisely in a position that the card is now sitting at the location, whereas if you were to spell all of the other values that you have not selected from ace to king in this packet, your card will be exactly at that position. So to show you what I mean, for the first time the performer reveals selected cards, and again reminds the spectator that we're going to spell all of the values, ace through king, except the values that you've selected, all of the other values, and we will arrive, believe it or not, at the selected card, the unknown selected card, the 2 of diamonds in this case. But but the performer won't get the spectator to reveal that just yet. So we're going to start spelling the other values, starting with the ace. And we look to see if there is an ace. There is no ace, so we're going to spell ace. A, C, E, just like that. We move on to 2. There is a 2 that they've selected, so we're going to pass on the 2. We move on to 3. There's no 3, so we're going to spell 3. T, H, R, E, E. And there's a 4, so we're going to pass on the 4. There's no 5, so we spell 5. F, I, V, E. There's a 6, so we'll pass on that. 7 and 8, we pass on those. Move on to the 9. N, I, N, E. There is no 10, so we'll spell 10. T, E, N. And they'll only have the king to spell since there's no king. So believe it or not, when we arrive after spelling king on the letter G, would that not be amazing if that card on G just happens to be the selected card, the 2 of diamonds? And for the first time, the spectator is asked to reveal what their selected card was. And of course they say the 2 of diamonds. We go on now to spell the last of the other cards remaining, which were not selected, the king. K, I, N. And is the 2 of diamonds on G. And there you have it. So that's it. That's how the trick looks. Okay, so for how that trick worked, I won't go into details of the mathematics involved, but really, if you haven't figured out already, it's purely 100% self-working. So if you follow along with the effect the way I described it, you'll find you can just perform this. You know, it's quite self-explanatory. It just works on its own. At that point of the trick where I supposedly positioned the selected card by doing a number of cuts quickly, of course all that was just a false cut. I just did a maneuver like this, which doesn't change the order of the deck. I'm sure you could come up with your own creative way of doing a false sort of shuffle, perhaps, to make it seem like, without looking at the cards, you've just positioned their card precisely in the deck for the needed position for the reveal. When in actuality, of course, the deck does not need to be changed. It's already ready to go. And like I say, it's completely self-working. You might even, some of you may even prefer to not even do any kind of false shuffle, just have the deck ready as is, but I think it makes it a little more interesting if you do some kind of maneuver to make it seem like you've actually repositioned the cards on the fly. It just sort of adds, I think, to the power of the effect that you've actually positioned the card precisely with just some, amazing fast maneuver without looking at the cards. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. And as far as the mathematical principle behind the effect, I'd like to credit somebody, but I honestly can't remember where I found that from. It was sort of a trick I found. It was a very, the original effect had to do with reciting the alphabet after you have your 2 even packets, and one of the even packets with the selected card at the bottom positioned on the deck. You could hand the packet to the spectator and have them recite the alphabet, spelling one, or moving one card from the top of the packet to the bottom for each letter of the alphabet, and then passing the deck to another spectator who did the same thing to arrive at the last letter of the alphabet at the selected card. Now, all that, of course, mathematically means that they've just moved 52 cards, because obviously there's 26 letters in the alphabet. You do that twice, you arrive at 52, and that brings you to the selected card. So no matter what, when you deal 2 even piles, no matter how many cards you deal in the 2 even piles, when you have one even pile with the noted card at the bottom placed on the rest of the cards, and you discard the other pile, it places the card precisely in relationship to how many cards there are left in the deck, so that when you deal the top card to the bottom and count for each card all the way up to 52, you will always arrive at the selected card. So with that in mind, I just added the idea of spelling values of cards, knowing that when you spell the values ace through king, that spelling, ace through king, totals 52. So I thought that would be a great opportunity to use the spellings ace through king in some way with that principle. So anyway, that's that. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you can use this effect, please thumb up. And yeah, leave any, if you have any knowledge of that principle or who invented that principle as far as the, the even piles and how it's positioned exactly, always 52 in the count. If anyone recognizes that and knows who created that principle, I'd like to know. If you could leave that in the comments too. So anyways, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you later.